There are many ways of looking at this, and I decided that the way I'd approach it was to pinpoint parts of my life. That's all, things that remind me of a particular area of my life.
Where do we start?
Well, we start at St Martin's School of Art, really, circa 1959, with Lead Belly.
What's he singing?
Backwater Blues.
Look at yonder. How sad is it that John Hurt's died? I mean, everybody dies, but
yeah, that's another great tribute from you.
No. What I'm saying is, excuse me.
You're right.
Yeah, it's so hot in here. I've tried to cool it down. I don't know why people work in temperatures of like 28 degrees.
Are you blaming Tony Cascarino and George Bingham?
Not at all. Not at all. Not at all.
At least they finished on time this week.
Oh, why?
Sometimes they run over a bit.
No, they run over a bit, do they? Okay, yeah.
It's such a short show.
Yeah. Is it just because I'm getting a little bit older now, I'm entering early middle age, that I think people are dying every day?
Well, I mean, funnily enough, I was awake when the story broke that John Hurt died. The very early hours of this morning, and people started saying, "Oh, is 2017 going to be worse than 2016?"
Well, who knows?
And it brought me to remember something that somebody wrote towards the end of last year.
And what was that?
I think it was on Facebook, where someone was saying, "Thank God 2016's over. It's probably the worst year in history." And they actually put, well, I think actually, 1666 might have been quite bad because that was when loads of people died from bubonic plague.
I think 1/3 of the population actually
of the world.
So that was.
So I mean, all these people that moan and groan about 2016 was awful. I mean, let's put it in perspective.
Well, I mean, 1942 wasn't a good year either, and all that kind of stuff.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
And I think you're right, but I think also it is the point
thankful for your blessings.
That the people that we know as celebrities have been in the world as celebrities because there's many more of them now, and you're just more conscious of it. I suppose.
That's absolutely right. But anyway, John Hurt was an Everton fan, and I have to admit, I'm holding my hands up.
I'm a lifelong Everton fan.
A lifelong Everton fan. I have to say that wasn't in the forefront of my memory when I heard he died. But then,
well, he's born in Chesterfield, right? So I suppose it's not a million miles from Liverpool.
Well, it's north, isn't it? And
I
it's
mean,
up
nearest
there.
club to that would, apart from Chesterfield, would be probably Derby or something.
Leeds United, wouldn't it?
No.
Yeah, it is.
No, Leeds are in Yorkshire.
Yeah, well, Yorkshire and Derbyshire border each other. I would say Sheffield or
Derbyshire also
Sheffield
borders.
Probably Sheffield.
No.
Big club, Sheffield Wednesday.
No, I don't think so.
No, you think Derby? Okay, yeah. But anyway, look, what I was going to say is very sad because, of course, he's a tremendous actor, wasn't he? He broke through, didn't he, in playing Quentin Crisp in The Naked Civil Servant.
That's right.
And that was a portrayal of a gay man, trying to lead life in society in days when there was absolutely no enlightenment.
Well, not only that, but it was illegal technically to be a gay man.
Absolutely amazing. But it was amazing. And do you know the one I remember him in? House of Cards.
Yes.
In House of Cards, right, he went to the evil politician's country home, didn't he? And the evil politician got him absolutely bladderated, put him to bed, and then went and got his cocaine stash, and he threw away the cocaine and chopped up rat poison and put that in his cocaine bag.
Dear.
And then on the way back, of course, he knew he'd have to...
the original House of Cards you're talking about.
The original House of Cards, the one written for this country by my great friend, the author, what was his name? Used to be a politician.
Yes.
He wrote the House of Cards.
Yes, I know exactly.
You know the guy I'm talking about? Yeah. And, of course, he knew he'd have to stop for a refresher at a service station the following day on the way home from the country. And, of course, he did. And he ingested the rat poison. And he was, I'm afraid, brown bread from that moment on.
Indeed. Thank you very much indeed for that terrific tribute.
The character, that is not John Hurt.
Yeah, we'll be talking to John Hurt, John Hearn, actually, who's got a very similar name.
He has, yeah.
He met him once as well, so he'll be telling
us
a little story.
He met him twice, actually.
Did he?
Met him twice. I've just had a word with John outside.
Okay. And I'll be telling you about my favourite sort of John Hearn moment as well.
Oh, will you?
I should also ask you.
That one.
What do you mean?
Well, I'm not sure it's going to change the world.
I'll tell you something else if you want to be, disputatious about these things.
Oh, yes.
There's a lot of people complaining that you haven't even put anything out on Twitter about John Hurt because you didn't even know he was dead until you got in here.
Well, no, I did, because I tell you what, you're absolutely right. I was out very early this morning and I saw a copy of the Daily Mirror had it on its front. And as it wasn't officially announced till 3 a.m, I have to say, the Mirror production boys did not pull their socks up and get going last night.
They sell so few papers these days that they could do that.
That's okay.
Fred has just tweeted us, by the way, to say John Hurt was not in House of Cards, and I can find no evidence that he was.
What?
John Hurt was not in House of Cards.
I thought he was the guy who got...
No.
Oh, is it somebody
else? So you
else?
got that wrong, yeah.
Oh, right. He wasn't in House of Cards then, but he's... a man who looks a lot like John Hurt...
Unbelievable.
A man who looks a lot like John Hurt is in House of Cards. No, John Hurt. Actually, do you know what? I've just remembered the guy had an Irish accent. So unless John Hurt was playing an Irishman,
right,
it wasn't John Hurt.
Yeah, a fantastic tribute to John Hurt. You got the programme wrong. You got his name wrong. Apart from that, everything's cool. Joe Cole's coming up a little bit later on in the show. This is talkSPORT. Hi, Mike. It's a great show. Would just like to inform you that John Hurt was in fact a Norwich fan, not an Everton fan.
Really?
If you don't believe me, look on the official Norwich City Football Club page.
Well, he is listed as a celebrity fan of Everton.
He's also listed as a celebrity fan of Everton, although Richie has tweeted at Mike Perrier, at IRMG, sort of slightly poking fun at you, I think. Other famous Everton fans include Mary Queen of Scots, Galileo, Genghis Khan and Oliver Cromwell.
You know, Adolf Hitler went to Goodison.
Let's not talk about that.
No,
thanks.
but he did.
Yeah, thanks for bringing it up. Let's talk to John Hurt instead, because he's, of course, a man who knows an awful lot about the film business and probably knows quite a lot about John Hurt, and has also got his name almost entirely correct, apart from one letter.
That's very true. And
very good morning.
Good morning. It caused a bit of confusion when we first met. I met. I was a young reporter about 20 years ago at a radio station, and
surely more than 20 years ago.
It might be a bit more than 20 years ago.
I said it's a porky with
been nice to myself.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
And I met him, and he said to me, "Oh, well, what's your name?" I said, "John Hearn." And he just looked at me, very cold-faced, and said, "No, that's my name. What's your name?"
Excellent. What was that work? What was he working on at that point?
Oh, he wasn't. He was playing in a charity cricket match.
Oh, right.
He just got out, and I ran onto the pitch to interview him.
Oh, okay. Because I was looking at his career. I mean, having found that he didn't actually appear in House of Cards at all.
No.
Despite Porky's.
Do you remember the guy I'm talking about, John, in
tribute.
House of Cards? The guy who died when he inhaled the rat poison that the evil politician had given him.
It wasn't the main character, was it? It was Ian Richardson.
Yeah, but he was driving back to Ian Richardson's house, after some sort of political chicanery, and Ian Richardson replaced his cocaine with rat poison. Anyway, it doesn't matter. We're talking about John
We're not
Hurt.
talking about him.
No, we're not.
Because whoever he is,
he's not John Hurt.
Figment of your imagination,
Exactly.
he's not John Hurt. But I was looking through his sort of TV career, and he started all kinds of things, including CSI Miami. He was in quite a few versions of Law and Order. He was in The Sopranos, which I don't remember because I've recently watched all of those. He was in The Outer Limits. He was in an incredible amount of television as well, of course, as all the movies.
Didn't he have a bit of a drink problem at some stage in his life?
For a large stage of his life.
Oh, really?
He was one of the notorious British hellraisers, along with Peter O'Toole and Richard Harris and Oliver Reed. And he once claimed he drank 7 bottles of wine a day, which is probably not quite true. But,
7 bottles of wine a day?
But he was certainly a big drinker.
Excuse me. I mean, that is huge. And I have to say that if he did that, then he's reached a ripe old age, hasn't he? Because those people you've just mentioned sort of fell off the perch a little sooner than John Hurt.
Well, I met him last year at a party.
Really?
At the Cannes Film Festival.
Yeah.
And he had enjoyed the hospitality, should I say, of that party.
Okay.
So
did it ever get him into trouble? Some actors' lives are over when they insult a director, isn't it? When they're drunk or...
No, because he was a really nice person.
Nice,
very approachable person. And, you could just go up to him and have a chat. He didn't care. He was, he was very, very approachable in that sense. And so he kind of didn't have that aggressive attitude. He just drank because it was, it was a sociable thing to do and it was a fun thing to do.
He was a batterator, Yeah,
exactly.
I mean, he, of course, for a lot of younger listeners, he was kind of famous for being in a Harry Potter film. But he was all, I mean, for people of our generation, or my generation anyway, Midnight Express, The Elephant Man, and a movie called The Osterman Weekend, which is a sort of little-known Sam Peckinpah film, which ends up with loads of people getting shot. But it's a tremendous kind of, tense thriller.
Well, he also played Bob Champion in the film Champions.
Right.
I tell you what, I didn't realise he starred in A Man for All Seasons, the original one.
Man for All Seasons.
Yeah,
that was Paul Schofield, wasn't it?
Yeah, he was in that as well, I mean, he was just in so many things.
Yeah, he was,
And he was never not really a leading actor, apart from, in the 60s and 70s he was a leading actor for a while, but more lately he wasn't a leading actor, but he could just play so many different characters.
Yes.
I mean, that incredibly expressive face, that wonderful, deep, rich voice, he could just turn his hand at anything, whether it was comedy, whether it was intense drama, or whether he was just narrating an animated film. He could do whatever he wanted.
Of course, he played Elephant Man. And that's the sort of role that old MG could play without the makeup, you know what I mean? Because...
How do you mean that? Why are you making fun of John Hurt, who's just died, age 77?
I'm not. John Hurt played it brilliantly.
Apart from getting it wrong at the TV show that he was in, you're being very disrespectful.
No, I'm not at all. John has just explained the man was a bon vivant, okay? He liked to drink, he liked to laugh and a shout, a cigarette and this sort of stuff, That's the sort of guy, he had a life jolie. And I don't think you should get all maudlin and say, that's all weep tears with John Hurt. That's celebrate his life. life.
I don't think he would want you to.
I don't think he would either.
Sad. I think he would want you to go out and celebrate everything he did.
I totally agree with you.
I'll tell you one part that he also starred in was the Alan Clark Diaries on a
TV
show, which you might remember from.
Well, they were full of Rogerisation,
2006. You can't say that this time of the day.
I think you can.
It's a family show.
Alan Clark
no, you can't. Producer's shaking his head.
Oh, okay, we won't say it then.
Yeah.
So you saw him at a cricket match. Does that mean he had a sporting bent then? Was he? I mean, we don't know which team he supported. There's claims from Norwich and Everton, but you saw him playing cricket. Was he more of a cricket fan?
He was more of a cricket fan than a football fan.
Was he?
Yeah, as far as I know.
Yeah, okay. And
he didn't do very well in that innings. I think he was out quite quickly in that game.
Well, yeah, but I mean, you don't have to be a great cricketer to be a cricket fan, do you? Most of us aren't. Otherwise, we'd have made a living out of it. But nice to know he had a sporting bent anyway.
It certainly is.
Yes.
John, thank you very much.
Thanks very much, John.
We've got a very, very fast show coming up. We've got Joe Cole coming on. I've got a tweet.
And it rained 5 days in the sky, turned dark as night. And it rained 5 days in the sky, turned dark as night. And the trouble taking place in the lowland that night.